getting paid $5 a day to do grunt work. I loved it. Working up in that environment, understanding what it meant to make a dollar, understanding what hard work meant, and the commitment to customer service. I would call that high dissatisfaction, low vision. You need higher vision than your dissatisfaction. If you don't, you're going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to be a miserable person to be around, and you won't know how to get out of it. But if your vision's higher than your dissatisfaction, then you can figure out what to do next. It's so interesting that you pulled that word out. Identity is one of these things that I've obsessed about over the last several years. If you don't know who you are, you don't know whose you are, the world will tell you. The world will steer you.
All right, welcome to another exciting edition of the Living Boldly with Purpose podcast. Every time I get to do these, Peter, I just get excited because I'm somewhere a little over 400 episodes now of just doing different podcasts and having them all done. And so but every single one of them has been unique. Every single one of them, well, I can't say every single one have been exciting and fun because we always at some point end up with that person who wants to be on the podcast and you bring him on. And, I was excited. I invited this guy he had been like at one of those guys that was, I don't know if he was a janitor or he was just in the fixture at a BSU school. And he was at the, where all the kids made at the Student Union Center, that kind of stuff. This is just one I can remember. He was one of those guys I was like, man, he's got to have so much that, like wisdom and all the things that have happened and all the wonderful things that he did while he was there and all the students he talked to. So, I began the interview and then, I'm asking him questions. I'm like, so you were there for like 35 years, right? And he's like, right. And they just stopped. And then I was like, okay, so you were able to, you got to interact with lots of students, didn't you? Yes. All right. And so did you have some really good stories, from the kids that you were interacting with? I do. Okay. Can you share one of those stories with us, please? And the whole interview was like one word answers. Like, do you not really want to do this? Because you wanted to be on it before we started. So those were the hard ones. But the rest of them have been so interesting. So, just different people that you get to learn about. I just, earlier, I was telling you, I just got off a podcast and the gentleman that I got to interview the son of a guy that I had interviewed about a year ago. And the mom and dad had kind of decided what the son's life was going to be like. I mean, we're talking not necessarily helicopter parents because they let him do a whole lot of stuff, but they decided before he was born what his name was going to be based on, where in the world they were going to be and the culture that he came from. They had decided that he was going to go to an Ivy League school. They had narrowed it down to 3 different Ivy League schools. They had decided what, all the different, like he was going to learn a couple languages when he was before 5 so that he would be able to know. And I think he learned 3 languages, when we learn languages best. So they made sure that happened. He became an engineer. He became a professional soccer player in Brazil. I mean, but they had kind of all of this stuff decided. So it was really cool to interview him and ask, what was that like to have parents that had already kind of decided for you what you were going to do?
Wow.
And he just grew up into it. I mean, all the experience he had. I mean, he had visited, 15 countries before he was 10. He had just the stuff that you would go, wow, instead of going to school for it, he just experienced it. And all the experiences and all the associations that they made sure that his parents made sure were part of his life, like, the doctor friends that they had or the attorney friends that they had or the actor friends they had or whatever, that they made sure that this young man was part of those worlds where, stuff that we just go, I mean, even most wealthy people don't do half the stuff they might buy them a whole bunch of stuff, but they don't do half the stuff with their kids that these parents, I mean, like he got a VA, a virtual assistant for him when he knew he wanted to go to Brazil to play soccer, and got the lay of the, knew everything about Brazil, where to go, where to stay, how to make sure that they did it, and then how to get them into, the tryouts and all that kind of stuff. And then, so when we think about those, it's just, every episode has been so amazing. And so today I get to have Mr. Peter Whitestone. And so he's going to be talking to us today about his life and the things that he's done. And, before the show, we call the green room or whatever we want to call it, that he was telling me about, hey, I've done podcast after podcast. And so he's been out there, he's been, and you don't get to do podcast after podcast after podcast if you suck at it. Nobody's going to invite you. If you're not interesting, if you're not somebody, one of the things that I think about when I think about living boldly with purpose, I don't know if it's possible that you can live boldly with purpose and live within your purpose, that why God put you on this planet, and not serve others. And so that's the other part that's just been so neat, is how could I possibly, I did have one interview when this guy's named the Kingmaker, where he literally talked about this world was made for me and everybody should serve me. And oh gosh, it was the most interesting. And he caught me off guard because I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting somebody to say, well, I tell my wife what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and she loves me for it. And that's the way that she wants, she wants it, because she knows that I'm going to take care of her and that I'm going to be the person who makes her life better. And I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know how to touch that. Like, does she get to make it? She doesn't need to make decisions. Why would she need to make decisions? I'm like, well, because she's a human being, and God has put something in all of us to live our own purposes, and we do it in relationship. Oh man! But at the same time, he's like, no, that's what she is. I tell her that this is when I want my coffee. My coffee better be there when I get up in the morning. And I'm like, wow, okay. But that's how it was. So, but that's not what we're here to talk about. My previous shows, we're here to talk about Peter and what he's doing and how he's helping people and how he's moving this world forward and making an impact. And so he's in Southern California, in a place that I love to be, and by the beach. And I'm not saying Colorado is a bad place, because Colorado is amazing too. But we get to talk to him. And so please tell us your story. Like I do all my guests, start wherever you want in the life that you think is important, and then we'll chop it up right after that. So it's all yours.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, Dr. B. Typical immigrant story. Parents immigrated from Egypt. They wanted a better life. I grew up in Orlando. They owned a grocery store, and I started working there when I was 7 years old. And it's an important part of the story because, some people ask me like, oh, how was that growing up in that, having to work and all this stuff? I'm like, oh no, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And so, getting paid $5 a day to do basically, grunt work, I loved it.
Okay.
And so, working up in that environment, understanding what it meant to make a dollar, understanding what hard work meant, and the commitment to customer service. We always joked about how we had, a deli there. We'd make sandwiches, and it took time to break that thing down at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like half an hour.
Wow.
And about 2 minutes before the shop closed, somebody come in like, they call my dad Joe. Like, Joe, can we get a sandwich? He's like, sure. And I'd be like, you gotta be kidding me, But he just all about like, hey, if we're gonna squeeze another dollar out today, we're gonna do it. But hey, I care about this guy. He's just got off of work really late and he's hungry. We're gonna make him a sandwich. And that was like the environment that I grew up in. Man, both of my parents working, 7 days a week for like 6 years straight. We had 6 days a week for like another 18. And so these guys, they knew how to grind. They knew how to hustle.
What an example.
But of course, they wanted an incredible example. But of course, they wanted a better life for us. And they wanted what I always like to say was a respectable degree, in air quotes, right? And so I got an engineering degree. My brother got an engineering degree. My sister got an optometry degree. But all the while in college, just feeling like, man, this is
That's not what I want.
This is not it. I'm not into it. This is not it. I worked a couple of internships. And you talk about hard work, you're talking 40, 50 hours a week at school, about 20 hours a week at an internship in my last couple of years. And then I started a business that I'd run from about 11, 12 midnight till 2, 3 in the morning. And that was in e-commerce. And by the time I graduated, I was making more money than I'd ever make as an engineer. And I thought, well, of course, business makes sense because I grew up in that environment. So that's what I'm going to do. And so I was in e-com, on and off for about 24 years, and ran a SaaS company, ran a couple podcasts, ran a teaching school up in the Midwest. But all the while, I just felt like a square peg, like I wasn't working on what God put me on this earth to do. And every couple of years, I always kind of had a crisis where I would tell my wife, I'm like, this is not it. I was meant for something greater, something more, and not greater in an egotistical sense, just greater for more impact, something in alignment with my superpower. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea. I just knew this wasn't it. And we call that high dissatisfaction, low vision.
Okay.
Like you need higher vision than your dissatisfaction. If you don't, you're going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to be a kind of a miserable person to be around, and you won't know how to get out of it. But if your vision's higher than your dissatisfaction, then you can figure out what to do next. And so in 2020, I started getting coached with my wife's encouragement, and the coach was like, what do you want? And I was like, well, I need to tease out superpowers. I don't even know what my superpowers are. And so I worked with him for 6 months and teased out superpowers, and I was about immediately depressed.
Oh, no.
And my coach is like, what is wrong with you, buddy? What's the matter? And I'm like, well, these aren't marketable skills, man. I'm like, Mike, this is not a job. I don't know what to do with these superpowers. Like, you basically just told me that Peter's a nice guy and he makes friends everywhere and helps him solve problems. I don't know what to do with that. He's like, oh, you don't get to know yet. This is that reticular activation system where you will start to see opportunities to flex those superpowers. Just keep an eye out. Keep your eyes peeled. And so about 6 months later, I'm with a group of guys, and I think, coaching, that's interesting. And now I'm one of these people that if I've got an idea, I'll run it by everybody that I know that I respect. That's got some business acumen. They've got some wisdom. Maybe they're in the industry that I want to move into. And I want them to tell me just how stupid the idea is. Punch all the holes in it you can. And I've always been like that. I'm telling you right now that this was the first time in my life where it was unanimous that every single person I talked to just basically said some form or fashion of course you are. Of course you're going to do that. Makes perfect sense, man. And I'm like, what do you mean makes perfect sense? They're like, you've been coaching me for like 7 years. I'm like, no, I don't think you heard me right. I said, I'm thinking about it. They're like, no, you've already been doing it. You just didn't realize. And then, it's funny how life is. You look in the rearview mirror and you realize like, oh, God's been connecting the dots this whole time in the background. I just am too dense to notice. And so I look in the rearview mirror and I'm like, oh, all those coffee meetings, all those people that want to get my opinion or get my advice, all those interview podcast episodes that were basically coaching calls recorded and put out in the world. All of these things that I've been doing to scratch an itch that I didn't know what it was. And so fast forward a couple more years and I'm, full-time coaching. We sold the last business, and talk about living boldly with purpose. I didn't know that it would feel this way. I didn't know that when you tease out superpowers and then you start to figure out how to perfectly overlay those superpowers to serve the world and the people around you, what it was going to feel like. It just feels effortless.
Wow.
There's several days where I'm like, man, I get paid to do this? I used to do this for free. I get paid to do this? I'm just talking with you. I joked with my wife, and the first podcast started in 2015. I remember just enjoying it so much, and I came downstairs because I've always worked from home for the most part. And I said to her, just kind of tongue in cheek, just joking. I said, man, if I could just get paid to talk to people, that would be cool.
So cool. Hey, it's Dr. B, and let me ask you something just here real quick. Are you tired of doing the same thing over and over and not getting the results you want? Are you serious about making some changes this year that will impact you in a huge way? Maybe you're putting out content right now and it's not turning into customers, or maybe you're uploading videos, but you're not sure why or how it's even gonna help. I've seen a lot of people that are making a whole bunch of cold calls to the wrong people and no one's answering, no one wants to talk to you. It might just be that you're just doing what you've been doing and crossing your fingers hoping it finally works this year. But let me tell you what, that is not a strategy, and it will continue not to work. That's why I created the Podcasting Challenge, and it's coming up fast. In just a few days, I'm going to walk you through the mindset, the tool set, and the skill set you need to create a powerful podcast. That's right, a podcast. You won't believe what a podcast can do. One that builds real value and creates new clients. And if you grab a VIP ticket, you'll get to join me for a daily Zoom Q&A sessions where I'll personally answer your questions and help you tailor everything to your goals. This is your moment. This is your year. Go to thepodcastingchallenge.com right now and save your seat. The link is in the show notes and the description. Thank you for watching these podcasts. Now let's get back to the conversation.
And now I get paid to talk to people.
Nice. Oh my gosh, what a blessing. And to know that you're making an impact, and as you're coaching people, that they're being able to take what you've told them and then make not only their dreams come true, but to live in the purpose that they were intended for. Because we all need coaches. I mean, that was even one of the things I said in the last podcast. Who's been coaching you? Who's been helping you? Because without one, I don't know. I don't know how my life would even work if I didn't have somebody who was out there seeing my blind spot, seeing what I don't know really well. I've been coaching track now for 38 years. I'm kind of winding down my track coaching career, and I've been able to coach some Olympians. I've been able to coach some high school state champions and a whole bunch of just not really good athletes, but still made an impact. Some of them are still calling me today after 38 years, asking me my opinion on stuff and taking that. And so, my gosh, what I'd love to ask you is when we think about identity, because what I hear is there's a few different, before you found out what your superpowers were, you were trying to really figure out who you were. And was it that the world was telling you who you should be and you were just trying to fit that square peg into that round hole? Or you just said, I know failure is part of this. I want to try stuff until I figure it out. How did your identity shift throughout your times?
It's so interesting that you pulled that word out, because identity is one of these things that I've obsessed about over the last several years.
Well, cool. Let's give it school. Take us to school.
Yeah. So here's the thing, man, is that if you don't know who you are, and if you're a person of faith, you don't know whose you are, the world will tell you. The world will steer you. Your parents will tell you. Your parents will steer you. Society will tell you. Culture will tell you.
Yeah.
So it's important that you know who you are and whose you are, because otherwise, man, you're going to get taken down the wrong direction. It's like that old adage, like if you don't know where you're going, any direction will take you there. It's the same thing. And so it's critically important. A friend of mine years ago, he put it to me this way. He's like, especially for men. And I don't know, I think we're just a little more bullheaded, a little more dense. We're more like a cinder block. Women don't seem to struggle with this as much. I think they're the superior gender.
Amen.
And they're a lot stronger than us, in all the right ways. So, man, I've been married for 21 years. I've got 4 kids, so I've living around it, man. And 2 of my kids are girls, and it's interesting. So anyways, I digress. And so he put it to me this way. He said, identity, calling, assignment. Okay. Identity, calling, assignment. Identity are what God calls us. Calling are our superpowers. Assignment is just how we live it out in the world at the moment. Man, do we get that confused. A lot of times we feel like our assignment's our identity.
Yeah.
And then we lose a job, or we shut a business down, or we sell it. And then you'll hear people say things like, I don't even know who I am anymore. It's like, what do you mean? You're still you. You're still you. You're just working on a different assignment. This is a different project. Project start, project stop. Still you. Still same superpowers. Still same identity. New assignment. And so it's critical that we get the identity right. it's critical that we get it right first, because then everything else sits on top of that. You see, the calling is super important. Your superpower is very important. Your assignment's super important. But without the identity, it's all built on sand, and it just comes collapsing down. The other way I like to put it is, and you think about it, and my buddy teaches it this way, is concentric circles, right? It's got God, self, family, team or company, and community. And if you think about these concentric circles working from the inside out, and you got people that are really amazing public success, financial success, crushing it in leadership, crushing it in the business, but their personal life's a mess. And then they have a big moral failure. They've got this big public catastrophe. And you think, like, man, how'd that happen? Their core was weak.
Yeah.
They didn't know who they are. They didn't take care of the things that are most important. And so all that stuff is built on sand.
It's the other rock.
So one of my favorite quotes is like, what's it worth to be a public success and a private failure?
Ooh.
What's it worth to be a public success and a private failure?
I'm sure there was those who would tell you the public success was more important than the private failure. They would say that, but inside I can't imagine that they could go to bed every night and feel good about who they are in themselves. But they would never say that.
I think in the short term, no. I think in the short term
Really?
they can.
Wow.
They can hide it. They can hide it. They can numb it out. Long term, never works out.
There's no way. No,
Never.
they crumble.
No. There's never been one story about somebody on their deathbed that's like, man, I'm so glad I grounded out. I'm so glad I'm on my 5th marriage. I'm so glad my kids don't talk to me. I've never heard that story. Have you?
Not once. Not even close.
Never. I've never seen it on the headstone. I've never seen on a headstone where it's like, this guy, damn, he could grind. Boy, could he grind. That guy could work. He could work. No, you've never seen it. It doesn't matter. Those things don't matter. And so we get them upside down.
So how do you help people find who they are? I mean, who's they are. I know I'm a child of God, and I think we find that through our association relationships, and God is calling us and saying, sit your butt down, let me show you. And if we're willing to listen and be there, he's there, and we understand who's it. But how do we explore that? How do we find out who that is when everybody else has been telling us who we should be?
Yeah. So God speaks in 3 ways. So I quote this guy on almost every conversation just because I enjoy his content so much. But Jamie Winship's got a book called Living Fearless, and he's got a whole business around identity. So anybody who's looking to dig in on that, he is him and his wife, Donna, just incredible in this work. And so learning a lot from them, being coached by their team on identity specifically, because we weave a lot of it into our work. Because we do identity, we do leadership, and then a lot of systems and processes, SOPs, like the nuts and bolts of business. Those are the 3 legs of our stool. Now, learning from them that when you hear about the phrase "Word of God," right? So the Word of God, it actually is translated into word in the English, but word was actually, there were 3 meanings for word. And so word was actual word, written word. Word is also audible, the voice of God, hearing from him. And then word was the inspiration of God, is the Holy Spirit, God breathed, right? Like some people might call it intuition, right? The Holy Spirit we receive when we receive Christ. We all know that. That's that intuitive nature. It's the intuition. It's the Holy Spirit. It's God breathed. That's the other word of God definition or translation. And so you said it. It's spending time with him, asking, listening, being quiet, which we don't do very well. We can ask all the time because we think he's a genie in the bottle. Please, I need it. Please, I'm in a rough spot. I need it, right? We'll pray like that. We're praying on Sunday morning, but that's it. But like being in constant communication with him, asking, listening, and the hardest part, which is being obedient, because sometimes he might tell you something you don't want to hear. Like he might hear, like I heard, like, oh, wait, hey, bud, you've been in the wrong profession for a long time. 24 years. You got a major career shift coming. Oh, you're going to have to be the new kid on the block again. Oh, that's going to be uncomfortable in your 40s. You're going to reinvent yourself. Uh-oh. You're going to be real bad at things for a while. Oh, shoot. I'm not going to make any money for a while. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
And so sometimes he calls you to do things. My buddy always prays and he's like, please, God, don't tell me to move to Africa. Please don't tell me to sell everything and go to Mexico. Like, oh, man, I hope I don't hear that. But he's joking, but it's true.
It's so true. Oh, my God.
Like, he might tell us to do something.
Yeah. You'll know it.
But, it's that obedience piece of like asking, listening, being quiet to hear, and then actually being obedient and doing it. A lot of times that's where we start to get glimpses of, okay, hold on. I forgot I had this dream. I forgot that I used to be good at this thing. I forgot that. I always like to say that we get old, we start saying old man stuff, old woman stuff. Yeah. Like, this is what you should do. Dr. B, you know what you should do. You know what you have to do. You know what you have to do in this industry. Oh, wait, that's not practical. Wait, you're being reckless. You can't do that. And I'm like, really? Okay. And that's how we get old.
It is.
We get disconnected from our dream. We get disconnected from our identity. We get disconnected from who we are because we're not paying attention. And the other thing that we've been learning so much, my wife and I, about, pre-fall of man, we were designed to walk hand in hand with the Father.
Yep.
Okay, what does that mean? This is not praying every once in a while. This is not praying in the morning before dinner. This is constant communication. Constant. And so my friend always says, my buddy Kenny, he's like, hey, God gives me a direction and then I run with it. He's like, and I feel like God's like, no, where are you going? Come back here. That was step one, dude.
Wait, come back.
Hold on, whoa. Where are you going? Where are you going? It's like when you're teaching your kid how to do something and they go off. You're like, wait. No, I didn't tell you everything yet. You don't even know what you're doing yet. Come back here. Just stay near me. Where are you going? Come back here. You don't even know how to do it yet. Come back here. And so this is why, for people that aren't watching, I'm wearing a hat that says Yoked. And this is a brand that we started because it's from Matthew 11:29. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. He wants to stay next to you. And what was a yoke? For the people that don't know, a yoke was designed to connect the necks of a junior ox and a senior ox. But for what? Because a senior ox would train that junior ox on how fast to go and when to stop, when to go left, when to go right.
Yep.
How, and what else could it do? Well, it pulled a disproportionate amount of the load. It pulled the load that junior ox could never carry on its own. So he said, take my yoke upon you and learn from me. What was he saying? Just link arms with me, bro. Stay next to me. Be by me. I'll teach you. I'll guide you. I'll be your GPS in this life. Just stay by me. Don't leave my side. No, by the way, we'll carry a lot more weight together than you can ever carry on your own. You were designed to carry it anyways. And so if we remember that, we can learn a lot faster. If we can remember that, we can make a lot less mistakes. We do a lot less stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Just leaning on him constantly.
Absolutely. Imagine having a relationship with, let's say, a spouse, but you only saw her on Sundays for 2 hours. And then trying to say, well, what do you mean you don't know me? What do you mean you're listening to me? What do you mean that we have a great relationship? And we try to do that with God, right? Or twice a week, or when we need it. Hey, honey, come over here. I need you to help me with this, but I'm not going to talk to you again until a couple weeks from now. What would that be? I mean, we would know that's not sustainable. And yet somehow we believe, well, because he knows everything, I guess I don't have to talk to him. Because he already knows what I'm going to do, then I guess I don't. No, he's there for us. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And even the definition of yoked. I mean, I was going to ask you, what, because I knew it, but that is so true. Taking on that burden that I probably couldn't carry if I wanted to. So
that's right.
Oh my gosh,
it's good.
It's so good, so good. Oh my gosh, so when we think about like the things that you do on a daily basis, because you've now found your purpose. You now found, this is what I do. This is what I do all day. And because you're living in purpose and you're living, like you said, I can't wait to get up every single morning. I can't wait to go to bed. I get paid. What? I get paid for this. What does somebody who lives like that day look like? Like, what do you do on a daily basis that just energizes you to want to be alive the next day?
Yeah. You said this in the green room we were talking. It's just that servant's heart, where you're just like, man, I'm pumped to help people solve some issues. And it's not even the surface level stuff. I mean, we help solve that, obviously, but it's digging deeper. Understanding, like, well, why is this your problem? Why is this on your plate? Why are you even working on this thing? What is this? And working through that, because sometimes we're working on the wrong problem, or like people like to say, we've got the ladder up against the wrong building.
Yeah.
And
seen that graphic.
Just kind of figuring that out. What's that?
I've seen that graphic several times. Like, why is your ladder over here when it needs to be?
Yeah.
The word, what needs to be painted is over here, and you over here on the brick wall. Yeah.
On the brick wall, right? And that brick wall is not for you, or we're climbing the wrong mountain. So helping people solve those issues, for me, is constant learning. I've got an immense amount of pressure is not the right word, responsibility to be better myself.
Yeah.
Because you can't take, anybody who's leading, when we're all leading someone. Someone's watching you. I don't care who you are. They're watching to see what you're doing next. Anyone who's leading, which we all are, we've got to be paying attention to what we're consuming and how we're growing, because you can't take people any farther than you've gone. You can't. And so if you're leading folks and you're like, man, why can't they just figure it out? It's because you haven't.
Yeah.
Because you haven't. And the thing is, as leaders, realizing like everything's our fault. A lot of people don't like that. They're like, well, that's not really true. I'm like, okay, point to one thing that's not your fault.
Hello, this is Dr. B, and I want to ask you one simple question. What if you died having never become you? Now, I don't mean the version of you that worked the job, raised the kids, or chased security. I mean the person God actually designed you to be, the real you. Because there's a version of your life that's already been written, and it's full of peace, it's full of boldness, it's full of purpose, and of course it's full of power. But most people, many people, they miss it. They live distracted, doubting, disconnected, and deep down they wonder, is this really all there is? But not you, and not today. That's why we created the Becoming the Person universe. It's a living, breathing community of people saying, I want to be who God called me to be. Not someday, but right now. So inside, we'll walk you through 3 levels of transformation. Level 1 is all about identity, where you finally see yourself clearly and know exactly who you are and who you need to become. Level 2 is about mastery, where we develop the disciplines to grow. And then finally, level 3 is legacy, where your life begins to matter beyond you. And hear me. I want you to hear me clear here. This is not a place to passively belong. This is a place to grow, lead, and thrive. We even have ways for you to share in the revenue as we grow, because we believe in building legacy together. And I want you to know the founders and I are praying for you. We have been praying for you. You have been on our hearts. Yes, you have been on our hearts. You're not watching this by accident. And I want to personally invite you to the next info meeting, where we will go over all this community has to offer. All you have to do is just click the link before, you know what to do. But now it's your turn. I want to ask you to ask yourself, what if this is the moment everything changes? What if this is the reason you've been searching? What if all God has been waiting for is for you to say yes? There's a seat for you here, whether you're rediscovering yourself or finally ready to leave a legacy and are ready to contribute. Either way, this is the Becoming the Person universe. And once you're in, your life will never be the same. So I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to spend time with you. I can't wait to see you on the other side. So let's go live in that purpose, and let's do it together.
And they're like, oh, well, I don't like the weather where I live. Well, who moved there? You did. Yeah, but this guy on my team, he's a slacker. Oh, who hired him? Oh, you did. It's all our fault. And the thing is for some people, it can feel demoralizing, but it's not, because it's like, wait, if it's all our fault, then we can do something about it. If it's all our fault, we can make it better. If it's all our fault, with God's direction, we can solve the problem or find a better problem. And so for me, it's just like on the daily, man, like where can we level up? How can we serve our clients better? What's going on in their lives? How can we iron this thing out to where it's continued to be more and more well-oiled so that we can serve? And the thing is, for me, it's like the highest leverage activity that I can be a part of. Yeah. If I can serve leaders and I can do that well, and I can even do that 5% better today than I did it 6 months from now, six months ago, I'm impacting them and their families and all their team members and all of their families and every single client and vendor. It's insane. The impact is immeasurable. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It absolutely did. And when you kind of started about like the coaching side of it, and one of the things that I found in my years is, because I wasn't a very good coach when I started out coaching, because I was constantly telling folks what I wanted them to do and trying to get them to do it. And I wasn't asking them the questions of where they were at and then how to move them forward. Now when I think of, if I jump into my track world to say I'm working with an athlete that needs to hurdle, right? The mechanics of hurdling are mechanics of hurdling. But if I can ask him, what did that feel like? If I can ask him, what were you thinking when you did this part or that part or whatever? I mean, now I have something that the feedback from their brain that is actually helping me to tell them what direction to go. Have you found that as part of why you're such a good coach? Is it's more about the quality of the questions you ask than information that you're giving?
No truer words have been spoken, man.
Oh my gosh.
Like, nobody wants to be told what to think. Nobody wants to be told what to do. And oh, by the way, if we jump to conclusions, we are going to solve the wrong problem. And so active listening, and then we coach all of our clients on how to listen properly. It's the most powerful thing. It is so insane.
Yeah. 2 ears, right?
It's so powerful.
It's a 2 ears, one mouth, right? I mean,
2 ears, one mouth. 2 ears, one mouth.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's, a real powerful statement that you can implement immediately after listening to this show is someone says something to you and you say, hey, just to make sure I understand, is this what you meant?
Ooh. Yeah.
Because here's the thing, everybody wants to be heard. Everyone wants to be heard. There's so many times where I'll have a conversation with someone, they'll talk for 29 minutes, I talk for 1. And then they'll say things and I'll hear about it like, man, Peter, man, I just love talking with him. It's hilarious because it's like, I didn't say anything. They talked. I didn't talk. But people just want to be heard. And the thing is if you're listening, then you're not speaking. If you're listening, then you're not thinking about how you want to respond or how you want to interject or what you want to say or what your agenda is. You're listening in the effort with the determination to repeat it back to somebody. Then you're actually going to hear what you need to hear. And they're going to feel heard because you regurgitated it back. And if you misunderstood something, they're going to clarify for you. And then now you're going to solve the right problem. And they're going to feel like you heard them. And oh, by the way, this is going to feel like their idea. And now all of a sudden the hurdler's better because you didn't tell him or her how to hurdle better. You found out what was going on in his or her head. And you provided a solution that felt like their idea. And all of a sudden, they're like, Dr. B is the best coach I've ever had.
Dr. B hardly ever talked. I mean, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Dr. B hardly ever talked. It's like the best trick ever. And the thing is, it's like you get to lead better. You get to have more influence and impact, which we all want to have. But in order to unlock influence and impact, you need relationship, and you can't have a relationship unless you're a good listener.
My gosh, that is so true. One of the things I was a communication major. I wasn't smart enough to be an engineering major, but I was a communication major. But one of the things that, that I learned is after my degree was already over. One thing that they never told me is the biggest mistake in communication is assuming that it happened. It just to go to your point, assuming that without asking the question and repeating back to them and saying, is this what you meant? We assume that whatever we say, they understood it. They knew exactly what we were thinking when we said it. And that's so far from the truth, because everybody interprets everything different based on their own experiences and where they came from and how they did it. And without those clarifying questions, that should be like, here's what I'll tell you. If you get a coach and all they do is talk and you never ask any questions, run. Just run.
Yeah. There's no coach.
Yeah.
No.
And yet there's so many people out there that think, you got to do it this way. You got to do it my way. You got to do it. Well, I'm not you. I can't do it the exact same way. I think of like Bill Belichick, and he didn't play professional football, but he was the master at the game of working with folks' minds and helping them become the best that they possibly could be. That's what his superpower was. Superpower wasn't the mechanics of football. I mean, I'm sure he understood it and the strategies and all that kind of stuff. But the athletes that played for him became the best that they possibly could be. And
I'm pretty sure his quote I have in one of my slide decks, I'm pretty sure it's him. And he said, I'll beat you with my team in the first half, and I'll beat you with your team in the second half.
Yeah, that is him. Oh, my gosh.
Right? He's like, it's not the players, man. It's not the players.
No.
It's not any of the tools. It's learning how to lead those players in a way where they can get unified and they can. At
that level, they're all incredibly talented. I mean, they really are. Oh my God, this is such a great conversation. I am enjoying it tremendously because one of the questions I love to ask you, and one of the guys brought this up that I was talking to not too long ago, and he was talking about the difference between somebody who coaches and then a therapist. And he said, if you have an incredible coach, would you ever need a therapist? And I know when I think about therapy, that therapy is dealing with stuff that happened in the past. And I know there's a place for it. But if you can have somebody who is helping you think about the future and all the things that the future can hold for you, and you can buy into it and believe in that, would you even need a therapist? What are your thoughts on that question?
I think it's a great question. So I always like to say, this is not therapy, because if I was a therapist, I would just make everybody cry. I think therapy is necessary when there's like some major traumatic event. Someone's got through something that they really need to process and purge out. I think those areas for sure are areas where a therapist would be really, really powerful. Other than that, likely not super necessary if you've got an awesome coach, because we still talk about stuff in the past. Because what's interesting is that, there's the way God made you and your nature, and then there's how your parents brought you up. That's your nurture, and it shapes your worldview. I just heard recently, like basically you experience every single emotion by the age of 5. And that becomes those emotions and how you experience them and how you process them become your truth and how you see the world. And there's a lot of lies that are built in there that you got to root out. And so we talk about those things. And then, so nature, nurture, then we go through choice, which is like, all right, now what are you going to do about it? Because we're not going to cry about this for the rest of our lives, right? This is how my dad took care of me and my mom, and then this is how God made me. All right, what are we going to do about it? These are the ingredients that we've got to work with. And so we work through those things. Now, if it's some deep traumatic event, I think therapy would probably still be necessary. I think it absolutely would be.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I think, it's just like the power of someone being able to inquire and ask questions. And one of my favorite things, and it's funny, like I told you guys, earlier about looking in the rearview mirror and realizing like, oh, I've been dabbling in this coaching practice my whole life. I'd have people, because I used to sit on this mentorship committee for a startup accelerator in the Midwest, and people would bring ideas to me all the time. And they'd go through and talk about how great the idea is and the industry and all stuff, on and on and on and on and on. And almost every single time when they were done, I'd say, yeah, but why you? And they'd be like, what? Because it's going to make a bunch of money, because the industry's ripe. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I go, I know. No, I didn't say the idea was bad, but why are you? Why are you the right person for this? Why is this the right project for you? And a lot of times you'd find out that it was just a super empty endeavor. They didn't care about the industry. They didn't even care about the idea. And then I'd say, hey, well, guess what? 90% of this is donkey work. 90% of this is not Instagrammable. 90% of this is not sexy. It's just hard work. And if it's empty and you're not the right guy or gal for the job, go do something else. You're not going to make it.
So true. When I think about distractions, because we all have distractions in us, we all have things that distract us from becoming or doing the thing that God would put us on the earth. How do you help folks that are constantly distracted but telling you, this is what I want, this is what I believe God is telling me to do, and then you look at their lives and you're going, well, you spent this much time over here, you spent this much time over here, where's your time that you're even working on you? Where's the time you're in the Word? And you're expecting these results because this is what you say, God has told me this is what I'm here for. Do you have a formula to working them through that without just bopping them on the head and saying, look at your life. This is, I can tell by how you're spending your time. This is what you're doing. You know, if you're at every football game and you know more about Patrick Mahomes than you do about your own kids, then you know that it's evident where your priorities are. How do you help people through that?
Yeah, well, a lot of times we'll do a calendar audit, and it's part of our process. And it's like, you get an idea like, oh, so what's most important to you? Oh, my family, my spouse, this, my community, blah, 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 blah. You'll go through a whole thing. I say, okay, so let's see, where's it on your calendar? Show me.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times they're nowhere to be found.
Nowhere. I'm not even close.
And it's like, oh, not even close. So it's like, okay, so are you delusional? Are you just paying me lip service? Like, this is what's interesting? This is what I'm supposed to say? Because you're not living it. Yeah. And then this will offend some people out there, but it's like a heavyweight personal trainer. You're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to listen to you? I don't think you're living it. Like, you're super out of shape. You're telling me how to work out. I'm not buying it. You're like, oh, but this is like the industry's greatest. Really? I don't think you're eating your dog food, man. You're not drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't get it. Right. And so again, you can't take people any farther than you've taken them. Right. So it's like, you can't say that family's priority and then you don't live it. And then you expect that to be part of your core values in your business. And you wonder why your people are overworked. It's like, wait a minute. You don't live it. You don't exemplify it. These are empty words on a plaque at the entrance of your business or in a binder somewhere, but you're not doing it. You're not living it. So this is BS. Like, let's call it what it is. And so we work through those sorts of things together. And a lot of times too, it's like, hey, listen, this is not, this can't be just some sort of pipe dream where you're like, oh, I'm going to try to manifest this business. Like, no, it's just a lot of hard work. And that's why I always ask, why you? This is why I always ask, like, okay, so how committed are you to this? You feel like God's telling you this? Okay, then God's going to give you the ingredients. But you got to bake the cake. You got to do the thing. Like, you got to put in the work.
Yeah. And nobody else can do it like you. Yeah. God put that in you. He didn't put that in the other person. People can do some of the same things similar, but what you've been called to do, He called you to do it. You didn't call somebody else to do it. Oh my gosh. Walk me through the word delusional. You used it, and when you ask somebody that question, are you delusional? Walk me through what that exactly is, because oh my gosh. Because the person you're asking that question to probably can't answer it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I won't use that word. I'll be a lot more sensitive than that. But So the Here again, the power of inquiry, man. If someone's got, and whether it's an idea that they're not seeing come through, or it's a lie they've been telling themselves. Like I had a client recently telling me that he can't slow down because then he'll lose his edge. If I slow down, then this whole thing's going to come crumbling down. If I slow down, then I'm going to fail. And so I'll just ask a question. I'll say, so tell me about a time when you did that and it happened. And they'll say, and like he did, oh, I've never slowed down. Like, how do you know that that's going to happen then?
Yeah, if you've never done it.
And he's like, well, I don't actually. I don't know that's going to happen. Like, okay, so this lie that's in your mind is steering your life in a direction you don't want it to go, to live a life that you don't want to live for something that has absolutely no evidence whatsoever. Or if it happened 20 years ago and then it's never happened again. And so anything like that, like that is a delusion.
Yeah.
It's like a figment of your imagination. Now, if you've got a business you're chasing and it's not working out, but it's very evident you're not putting the work in, then again, on the calendar audit, it's like, okay, well, how much time are you actually spending on that? Or like you and I are talking on a podcast right now, and I've got friends that are like, oh, I tried podcasting. It really didn't do anything for my business. Like, that's interesting. How many episodes have you recorded? How many interviews have you been on? And they're like, well, I was on like 4. Like, oh, that's hilarious. I was on 5 last week. Like, that's a joke. Yeah. You didn't try anything. You quit. You quit. Let's call it what it is. That's like saying, like, oh, I tried that exercise routine. It didn't help me. I didn't get stronger. How many times did you do? I did 3 times. Oh, it's not going to work. What are we talking about? It's not going to work. You quit. Yeah. You quit. It did not. You did not work. It's not that it didn't work. You didn't work. Yeah. And so, again, the power of inquiry is just like having people hold up the mirror and be like, oh, shoot. It's my fault. I did it.
When have we ever done anything 4 times and been good at it? And somehow people think, like you said, you just quit. You quit on yourself. You quit on whoever you made those promises to that said you were doing.
Yeah.
One of the things that you said that really just kind of grabbed me is when I think about the future, like there's the past, there's really not a present, because I think that's when we go to heaven, and then we're now living in, because as soon as I say the word, it's now in the past. And then you think of the future, but everything that's in the future is made up, because we don't really know what's going to happen in the future. Yeah. We just know what we can predict, what we think based on what's happened in the past, but we truly don't know. And so if we're going to obsess or dwell or try to make things happen in the future, why would we not want to make things happen that would go our way instead of make things happen that won't? Because it's all made up either way. I mean, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to happen. I intend on driving home after work if that's, I'm working somewhere and I need to drive home. But that doesn't mean that's what's going to actually happen. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do, right? Or I could intend to have an accident on my way home from work, and then all of a sudden we kind of manifest some of those things. Are there times where you're helping folks kind of see that? It sounds like even with your question here on the, how do you know that's going to happen? Are those exact type of questions, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just one of these things where we can't have fear and faith coexist. Ooh. And so if you're being really truthful and honest with yourself when you're self-sabotaging or you're avoiding, it's like you're scared of something. And I'm not a guy that uses the word scared very much.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, I'm scared all the time.
Of course.
So when you're not living in alignment with what you said you were going to do, or something that you said you were going to work on, you're freaked out. Mm. And the question is, like, what are you scared of? And so here's what's really, really cool. And this is going to sound absolutely kooky to some people. I'll sit and I'll feel like, frustrated or anxious or worried or nervous or something. I'll literally sit here and think, hold on, what is this? What is this? Like, oh, I'm scared. I'm not going to close this deal, or I'm freaked out. This is not going to work out, or I'm worried I'm going to look dumb on stage, or right? And then I'll just like start writing these things down. This is the thing. Oh, okay. And then you start thinking like, okay, is this true? No. Does this matter? No. What am I worried about? No. Is that going to happen? No. Is it likely? 1%. Okay. And you like work through the whole thing. You're like, oh, this is nothing. This is nothing. The other thing is thinking about quitting. Sometimes quitting is the best thing to do. Actually, there's a whole book called Quit by, I think, Andy Duke. Sometimes the best thing to do is quit. And it's a 4-letter word for a reason, because it's an expletive, right? Quit in Western society is the most ridiculous thing ever, right? But sometimes the best thing to do is quit.
Absolutely.
So I'll just put that out there. A lot of times it's not. A lot of times we just don't like what we're feeling. We don't like being bad at something. And you're like, oh, this is hard work, or this is not fun. And what I've experienced, especially lately, man, is the joy of working through the suck. So many things recently where I'm like, I do not like this. I absolutely do not want to do it. And I make myself do it anyways. And then I get through it and I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad. I'm now good at it. Oh, these are the guardrails that allow me to live on the road and highway my superpower. And I kind of like it now, actually. And I kind of enjoy it. And it feels so good to get better at something that you stunk at in the beginning. And as we get older, I firmly believe we forget what that feels like. As kids, we do it all the time. You're bad, then you get good. You don't know how to do it, you do good, right? But man, as an adult, you just keep doing more and more what you're great at. But sometimes, not all the time, sometimes there's things that you need to suck at. There's things you need to just get better at. And the older we get, the more, in my opinion, it's like reverse magnets. We're repelled by it. We're like, dude, that looks uncomfortable. I'm not going to be good at that. I've never done that before. That looks really painful. That looks hard. That looks sweaty, whatever the, fill in the blank is. And we just avoid it. And sometimes the best thing to do is run straight at it and just do it over and over and over again until you get better.
Because you do get better. I mean, that's, you do get better. You do get better. Oh my gosh. This is so cool. Yeah. Well, man, this has been, I cannot believe we have talked as long as we've talked, and we could do a 5-hour conversation. I would still be like on the edge of my seat. But what I love to do is I'm actually going to launch a community called Be the Person Universe that I'm going to launch on July 4th. And I want to have some rooms where there's Ask an Expert. I want to have some rooms where we have air meets where people can just get to know each other and stuff. And man, if you're willing at some point, I'd love you to come in and we'll figure out how to make it all work. But just to come in and, speak and answer questions to people and have some of these conversations. And, obviously whatever your coaching things that you're doing to get people to do those. But at the same time, just a place where people can just come and just go, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I should move this forward. What are some things that I can do? Or listening to other people who have been there, because I think that's some of the power, is that power of association in the people that you can watch and look at and go, wait a minute. I see, and they can say, I wasn't good at it. And I did try it 5 times. And then I did quit. And then I realized that quitting was not good. And I had to go back and do some more of it until I got good at it. What didn't we talk about that you want to make sure that we add to this show that the listeners will be able to take from it?
Yeah. A couple things. One thing, I've got a freebie for your audience if it's interesting to you, and it's 5 secrets to leading biblically while growing revenue. And you can text the 2 words Whitestone to 55444 and get that for free. And so we've got that for them. The other thing is something you just talked about that I think is critically important. Being around people that will push you, being around people that will kindly encourage you to keep going is the most underrated thing ever. You got a bunch of overweight friends, you're probably going to be overweight.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got a bunch of laggard friends, you're probably going to be a laggard. because who you surround yourself with is so insanely powerful. I mean, you've got a ton of kids, right? You very carefully encourage them to hang out with certain kids, and you very, very gently discourage them from hanging out with other kids. Why? Who cares? Just a friend, right? No. Because they literally can take them down the wrong path, and they can go down that wrong path for 10, 20, 30 years. It's not that hard. It's really easy, right? Broad path, narrow path. I talk about it all the time, right? And Jesus talks about it too, right? Like enter through the narrow gate. Like few will find it. Because it's narrow and it's harder, and it's the road less traveled. It's way harder. But you need to be around people that are like going down that narrow path, and they're going to be with you. Still going to be hard, but you're much more likely to keep going. And so I would like to just double click on that and for people to really think about, like, who are you hanging out with? Are they the people you want to be? Are they? Because if they're not, boy, you got to find new friends. You got to find new circles. Not easy, but it's dead simple. You got to find new circles because those are the people that will call you up. I'm around titans in industry. Why? They make me feel dumb. They kindly call me up to be way better. And I look at what they're doing. I think, okay, all right, they're there with me, and they're able to do it. And they're driving through. We all get 24 hours in the day. It's what we do with it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh no, that's so amazing because it just reminded me. And some people say, well, okay, I'll just go hang out with the people that, that I want to be. And they say, well, to say it's a millionaire, I'm going to go hang out with millionaires. Well, you got to kind of work yourself up. You can't be making $10,000 a year and then you think you're supposed to be in the room. You have not become the person who can even have hardly any conversations. So if you're making the $10,000 a year, start out with $20,000, $40,000 a year, $50,000. But don't try to just think I'm just going to go hang out with folks that there's no way you can relate to, understand, because you haven't become that person that needs to be in order to do the thing that you want to do. And so that, hopefully that's where encouragement, that's why I'm starting the community, right? So people can progress up, they can level up because, like you said, titans of industry, you didn't start out, hey, I'm just going to go hang out with a whole bunch of titans of industry and they're going to feed into me everything that I need to know. No. And then I'm going to go do it. Like you are capable of doing it, right? Like there's even, something in there that will allow you to do it. And so, oh my gosh, Peter, this has been so amazing. And thank you for being on today. And thank you for taking your time out of your day to be part of living boldly with purpose. And I can't wait to put this out there. Again, what was the number? It's text, what is it, to 55444? What are they texting? Oh, Whitestone.
Whitestone.
Whitestone. So Whitestone to 55444. That's your first step. Is to get to be able to do that. Is there a website that you have that they can go to look at stuff, or they just Instagram you? Look, is it whitestone.com, coaching.com, or what is it?
Yeah, whitestonecoach.com.
Okay, whitestonecoach.com. I encourage you, if you're at that spot, I'm sure he's just not taking everybody, and everybody who just, there are steps that you would have to prove to him to be able to be coached by him. But man, if you get that opportunity, I would tell you, take advantage of it, because we had just had a master class in the last hour. If you missed any of it, because you're watching this now, you can go ahead and hit rewind and go back. You hit pause. You could take notes. I had to learn that. I really didn't have a clue that I'm watching it, trying to hurry up and take notes. And like, what am I going to do if he says something that I don't get? And they're like, oh, I can just hit pause and then I can take the note, then I can push play again. And so if this is your first episode watching this, there are many more like this. Hit the subscribe notification. So there'll be many more. I can't wait to spend time with you. Can't wait to work with you guys. Hey, don't forget, you are God's greatest gift. He loves you if you allow him to, and I want you to allow him to do that. If all I could say is, if you're in the spot and you're wanting to be more and become more and do more and have more, let's go. Let's go. Let's grow. Let's become. You got it. You can get this. If your journey is just starting, let us help you walk the journey through it with you. All right, you guys have an amazing, awesome day. Any one last word that you have? 2 words, 3 words? All
Get
right,
after
get
it.
after it. All right, we'll talk to you guys on the next one. Have an amazing, awesome, incredible, awestruck day, and we'll talk to you later.